Hi, thank you so much for being here today. I'm Thelonious Goerz, and I'm a PhD student at Cornell in sociology in the Brooks School of Public Policy. And so today I would like to talk to you guys about age composition and stress in the daily mobility trajectories of older adults in Chicago. So for a brief bit of background, as adults age into later life, the social, environmental, and exposures that individuals experience become increasingly consequential for health. This is partly due to the aging process itself, which results in a pattern of slowing down, changes to daily routines, and potentially changes in physical functioning. But additionally, social interactions become increasingly important, and so this paper kind of seeks to look at how interactions with age peers, those that are of the same age period in life, can be potentially beneficial for stress. And so in this talk, I'll be thinking about health as related to stress and using them relatively interchangeably, just to make that clear. Some of the limited research on age peers and health outcomes has looked at shares of older adults in neighborhoods and that association with stress. And broadly, they find that there are positive benefits from potential contacts with age peers, and higher shares of older adults in a individual's census tract or neighborhood have been associated with decreases in stress. Additionally, we know that real-time interactions with individuals can be particularly beneficial, especially for reducing momentary pain and stress. And so in this talk, I'm going to seek to use both micro and macro level data to intervene on a increasing problem in this research, which is that there is a greater use of static and ecological data, which gives us some idea of the potential for exposure, but does not give us an idea of whether individuals are interacting between each other on a day-to-day basis. So there's this sort of dynamism between the environment of the neighborhood, which gives us some idea about potential interactions, and there's also this kind of confirmed data that we can get from these ecological momentary assessments, which can give us a better idea of whether individuals are actually being exposed or interacting with age peers. So this paper overcomes that problem using geolocated ecological momentary assessment data. So as I said, in this paper, I'm going to explore how the share of age peers in an individual's daily mobility census tracts are associated with real-time stress. And I'm also going to explore how the interaction between age peers via confirmed self-reports from older adults is associated with stress. So my research questions are, how is the share of older adults in respondents' activity spaces associated with the probability of stress? And does real-time exposure matter for this stress? So to give you a brief bit of background about the data, these data come from the Chicago Health Activity Space in Real-Time study, which is a probability sample from 10 neighborhoods of 455 older adults in Chicago. They are given a baseline survey as well as prompted with 5 randomly assigned EMAs per day, which ask them a short set of mini survey questions. And they broadly ask about well-being, affect, social activities, and observations of public spaces when applicable. The broad goal is to understand how environment and social interactions shape stress and health. So to give you a brief overview of what the data look like, I have 4 randomly selected IDs here, and this is the first 5 EMAs that an individual may complete in the first wave. And so we can see that there is a pattern of kind of discontinuous participation. The NAs represent ones that they don't actually complete, but you also have ones where an individual says they're stressed and then not stressed, and there's kind of a lot of variation in their trajectories. For the purpose of these analyses to look at daily mobility trajectories, I restrict the EMAs to ones that occur outside of the home, which are typically, but not always, the 1st and 5th. And so post-filtering, you can see that the 1st and 5th EMAs are taken out, and it results in the kind of middle EMAs. And as you can also see, some of the middle EMAs are also not at home, so they're taken out as well. So to approach these research questions, I use a logistic regression modeling framework with wave and tracked fixed effects to look at the relationship between age composition and real-time observations on stress. To account for potential confounding, I include a variety of controls at the tract level and individual level for demographics, socioeconomic status, health status, etc. To control for potential biases that may result as a result of over-participation or under-participation in EMAs, I adopt a weighting strategy that weights individual observations within each wave by the number of EMAs that an individual completes. And to account for potential error correlation between relevant groups, I cluster by wave, tract, and individual ID. So now before we get into the results, I just wanted to give you kind of an idea of the spatial context of these EMAs. So this map shows the distribution of the shares of older adults in each census tract in Chicago, which have been bucketed into quartiles. And then the dots represent EMAs that a respondent says that they are stressed or not, the green ones being not stressed. And so if we zoom in here, we can broadly see that though there is variation in where the stressed and non-stressed EMAs are, broadly, the green dots are falling in areas that have higher shares of older adults. And in the sample more broadly, the stressed EMAs are falling in areas where there are much lower shares of older adults. So now, to get into my first empirical finding, this plot looks at the predicted probability of stress as it varies with the percentage of older adults in a census tract. On the x-axis, we have the percentage of older adults, and on the y-axis, we have the probability of reporting stress. As you can see, as the share of older adults increases, the probability of stress declines, which is statistically significant with an average marginal effect of 0.06, which on average corresponds to about a 0.6% decrease in the probability of stress. For the second result, this is the exact same figure. However, the coefficient of interest is an interaction between observing an age peer as a result of the individual's EMA census tract and the neighborhood age composition. And so what we can see is this dashed line corresponds to those who reported they were observing an age peer in their census tract. And as we can see, on average, there's about a 5 percentage point decrease in the probability of stress overall. And so we can see that across the distribution of age shares, that is broadly true. So this suggests that observing individual age peers confers an additional benefit above and beyond the environmental exposures. So to briefly summarize, older adults shares in a neighborhood are significantly associated with a decrease in the probability of reporting stress. And above and beyond that, there is something that is contributed by the on-the-ground interpersonal interactions between individuals and age peers. And older adults observing other age peers in their neighborhood have additionally greater stress above and beyond that. And I have a few comments to prompt discussion, but thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to that. I just really quickly want to acknowledge support from the NIA, but thank you so much.